There are so many questions. NBC5 Investigates looks at what's behind the immigration arrests and what's next.
Our investigative reporter Chuck Goudie joining us now to try to answer those questions. Chuck?
Stephen, Allison, when Immigration and Customs Enforcement shows up and agents place people in handcuffs, the typical explanation from ICE is that there is a final order from a judge and that person being taken into custody hasn't complied with the order. That appears to have been the case yesterday in Chicago, although ICE officials have provided no details. But how does it get to this point, and why yesterday? When ICE officers deploy with arrest paperwork, it is usually the end of the process for whoever is named and pictured. Agency officials say those who were brought in yesterday here in Chicago had a final court order in their name signed by an immigration judge. In most cases, this is the last step before a person is sent out of Chicago to a deportation center and then out of the United States to their homeland. Investigators say an ICE arrest usually comes after someone with a long-expired visa has stopped participating in their own immigration proceedings.
You have the right to have an interpreter who speaks your best language to help you communicate with the court.
This 18-minute ICE video, produced during the Biden administration in Spanish and English, describes the immigration court process that begins with this form known as an NTA, or notice to appear, and authorities emphasize that not appearing results in expulsion.
It is very important that you attend every scheduled hearing. The law says that the immigration judge must order you removed from the United States if you receive proper notice of your hearing and you do not appear at your hearing at the scheduled date and time. Do not be late.
The process of being cited, handcuffed, and sent out of the country is carved out in U.S. immigration laws and in practice. The Deportation Express is usually not swift, but most often involves someone overstaying their U.S. visa, creating what ICE calls an unlawful presence that makes a person subject to a removal proceeding. They first receive that NTA, notice to appear, that we just showed. There's an administrative hearing that can result in a removal order, especially for no-shows. ICE tonight hasn't clarified why at least 10 people were arrested yesterday, relying only on that explanation that there were judges' final orders. Homeland Security sources tell NBC Chicago they have been pressing ICE to step up the pace of arrests of immigration violators, especially people on expired visas. And it isn't lost on ICE observers that the Chicago sweep came a few days after that flamethrower attack in Colorado Sunday. The suspect there was on a blown visa.
So those people we saw arrested in the South Loop yesterday, Charlie just reported one of those. She was a mother, has children still here in this country. What happens to them next?
Well, there may be no appeal for people in that situation. That's part of this dead-end process. They may already have been sent to a deportation center in Texas, Arizona, or another border state, and then out of the country. And depending on how long their visa was expired, they may be banned from reapplying for several years or permanently.
It'll be interesting to see if this will change how lawyers are talking to their clients when it comes to getting those texts, and maybe how they can handle it differently.
Well, it's a double-edged sword, because if you cooperate and go to your hearing, the likelihood is you're going to be deported anyway. So that's part of the issue here.
Wow.
Chuck Goudie, thank you so much.